Hello, friends. Today we have a whole bunch of nature books to look through. So this week's shop update is all about nature and nature study, field guides, that kind of thing, which is one of my absolute favorite categories. You'll see me listing these types of books all the time. So we have a lot to get through. Let's just dive in and see what is new in the shop this week. So we'll start with these two Audubon hardcover field guides. The first one is Audubon Land Bird Guide, Birds of Eastern and Central North America. This one has a lovely little color section right there in the middle, and the rest is just text in black and white. And then this one is a wildflower guide, which will be one of the first books to sell. I guarantee it because they just sell so quickly. So some of these illustrations are in black and white and some are in beautiful color, as you can see. This one has a little ring on the outside. Can you see that? That looks like an awfully big ring. I don't know what would have caused that. The world's biggest coffee cup. This one also has a little bit of like, you can see like just kind of spotting, and maybe there was some dampness introduced to this book previously, but it's still absolutely beautiful. Now we have some Peterson field guides. This one is a field guide to trees and shrubs. These are very collectible. People love the spines that they, some of the Peterson books have the illustrations on the spines and some do not. This one does. So this is, let me just fix this. There we go. Okay. Here's the inside of what that one looks like. And then we have these two that I am selling as a set, a field guide to the birds and a field guide to Western birds. So this is Eastern birds and this is Western birds, and I'm selling them as a set of two. So let's just take a look through one of these Peterson field guides. These are beloved by many people for the illustrations by Roger Tory Peterson. Let's take a closer look. Very pretty. And again, these all have, they're all hardcovers and they all have the green spines, but you can see this one is a little bit older and it does not have the illustration on the spine, just on the cover. Next, we have this golden guide to birds of North America. This is a nice hardcover edition. It is a classic for a reason. The illustrator that did all of these bird illustrations for the Golden Books is just so talented, and that is why people still to this day enjoy these lovely books, because of the beautiful illustrations. And it's nice to find those in hardcover. Let's see. I have a couple of Golden Guides paperback to show you. This one is Insects. Look at, again, with the beautiful illustrations. That's why people still collect these golden field guides today, because they are just lovely. Then we have Trees. And here's a peek inside the trees. And then this one is a little bit rarer. I don't find this one as much. This is Exotic Plants, and it's really beautiful inside. Then we have another Peterson, but this is a paperback. This is Hawks. And this one is delightfully signed by the illustrator. So the illustrator, you can see, his name is Brian K. Wheeler, and he autographed this and dated it April 14th, 1988. So there's a peek at his illustration style. We've got some black and white or gray, and also color illustrations. Isn't that lovely? And then we're back to Golden again. This is in oversized field guide. So most of the Golden books are this size. This one is bigger. This is Birds of North America. Again, just really, really beautiful illustrations. And color maps about where you can find these birds, where they migrate, all of that wonderful stuff. And then this is a more modern Golden Guide. So this is Wildflowers again, but this one is from the early 2000s, I believe. But the wonderful thing is that it maintains or retains the same illustrations from the older versions. which is why these are just so beloved, is the illustrations. Here's a field guide I've never seen before. You ready? Birds of the Fiji bush. How did this field guide end up somewhere where I could buy that, which is either here in Alabama or in Middle Tennessee or in Kentucky is where I buy most of my books. So how did this book end up here? I don't know, but it is beautiful. It's got somebody wrote their name inside of there, and it's dated 1993. But this is what's so special about this book is beautiful, beautiful illustrations. Look at those beautiful birds. Aren't they lovely? And there's, oh, look at that. So pretty. So the text is interesting too. The typeface kind of looks like typewriter typeface. This is a red-breasted musk parrot, just in case you wanted to know. All right. I have 4 Audubon Society field guides. This one is a field guide to North American mushrooms. So you can see this book is broken up into segments. So the back segment, you will have just data and some black and white illustrations, like that little guy. And then this front section is all the color photographs. So in this case, all the mushrooms. And next we have insects and spiders. And this is set up the same way. You can see it's segmented into the color photograph section and then the data or the text. So there's some creepy crawlies. This one is an Audubon handbook to Eastern birds. It's a little bit taller than the other one and it's set up a little bit differently. So instead of having sections for photographs and text, this one is broken up like this, where you have one bird on each page with a color photograph and description. Willow, what is that? Willow ptarmigan. Great crested flycatcher, western kingbird. Okay, and the last Audubon Society book we have is Wildflowers again. So this one, sections. And so this one will be photograph based versus illustration based. Keep picking out all the yellow flowers. Here we go. Okay. So what should we move on to next? I have 2 big piles of hardcover books in front of me. I'll just start with the left. This book is called Wild Heritage, and one issue you can see it's cocked. See what I mean? That it's just kind of crooked. That's based on the way it was stored on somebody's shelf. This book is about ethology, the science of animals' normal behavior. And it is broken up into sections, by the way. It's from 1965. And it's written by Sally Carrigar, and it's beautifully illustrated too. So it's broken up into sections: animals and man, animal parents, aggressiveness, play, and sex. So let's see. I'm going to find some illustrations for you. I keep finding them and then flipping right past them. Here's a bird. These are all black and white illustrations. We've got some primates in a tree. And here's some buffalo, bison. All right. And then this guy, here we go, is called Illustrated Guide to Trees and Shrubs, a handbook of the woody plants of the northeastern United States and adjacent regions. So this was written as a guide for everyday people by the curator of the Brooklyn Botanical Garden. So this is a book for you and me, not for botanists, to help you learn how to identify trees. Isn't that lovely? Okay. I have this very cute book. This is The Country Diary Book of Creating a Butterfly Garden, and it is a spin-off of an extremely popular book called The Country Diary of an Edwardian lady, which if you have not read, you need to find yourself a copy of that. It is a beautiful example of just nature journaling. And so this book is a kind of a spin-off of that, so you will see the familiar illustration style of the original, but also it's a guide to actually setting up a butterfly garden. So there are some photographs in here as well. So here is a typical page where you have actually a photograph, but also an illustration, a botanical illustration. Really lovely. Okay, this book is beautiful. Again, we're getting into Roger Tory Peterson and also James Fisher. So two big names in animal identification and illustration. And this book is just awesome. It's just so pretty. Page after page of these stunning color illustrations. We've got black and white in here too. We've got information about birds. This is bird intelligence. And then if you open this up, look, you have a bookshelf full of field guides and books about animals. And then this section is, I'm assuming, a migratory section of where birds go and things like that. So you'll just find all kinds of treasures in this book. It's just so beautiful and fun to flip through. You have different like species of birds, eggs, all kinds of things. It's just lovely, as you can see. One more little peek inside. Okay, and then we have this big guy. This is Birds of America again, but an older edition. This one has some damage down there at the bottom, and it is also a little shabby inside. So if we open it up, first of all, you're going to see this loose page. I just randomly opened to this page, and this is all birds' eggs. But you can see, if I can gently open it again and show you a little bit closer, there's quite a bit of foxing along the edges. And there's some wiggliness in the spine here, so you can see the webbing inside. But this is a beautiful book, color and black and white. And this is from the 1930s, I believe. Okay, one little more field guide that I missed, and then we'll get on to the next pile. Look at this little guy. This is all about hummingbirds. So Hummingbirds of North America. This is a Millie and Cindy's Pocket Nature Guide, and it is just wonderful. It's so cute. It's so reminiscent of like the 1990s. I just love it. It's so darling. This page is a little creased. I don't know if you can see that. There's another one. So sweet. Okay, now we're going to get into some children's picture books. These are all, I think I have these all priced at $10 each. So this is Birds, Nests, and Eggs. This is part of the Young Naturalists Field Guides series. Okay, and if you open it up, it's all about birds. Downy woodpecker. Give the birds a shower bath. So there's also information on attracting birds. This is from that series too. This one is Trees, Leaves, and Bark. So if you want to have a beginning guide to nature study and learning how to use a field guide, those are great. This one is very fun. It is called One Small Square Cave. So this is all about caves and the animals that live there, like this owl and the bats, obviously, mice, all these little critters. It's very cool. I forgot to mention, these are all library books that I got from a library store in my hometown up in New York State. This one is very fun, a great little introduction to nature study and paying attention. Nature detective, how to solve outdoor mysteries. So let's just open up to one of these mysteries, the fairy rings. Okay, so the fairy rings describes what fairy rings are, and then just goes into exploring fairy rings and fungi in general, how to investigate fairy rings, and yeah, things like that. So the next one is Skywatch, so it's about the skies. This is really cute. I just love it. There's animal tracking and things like that too. This book is about flamingos. It's called Wild Flamingos. So obviously it's about flamingos living in the wild. Let's see, this one is really gross. I'm just gonna warn you. It's got some really gross photos in it. It is about zombie makers. So it's about things like the cordyceps, fungi, and other plants, animals that infect their hosts and take over their brains and make them do things they normally wouldn't do. So quite interesting, but also really gross. All right, so this is an Aliki book. Aliki is very popular. Of my visit to the aquarium. So this is just going to be an immersive illustrated picture book, as all of Aliki's books are. Backyard Birds of Summer. This explores, here's the orioles. Just a whole bunch of birds that you would see in your backyard, depending on where you live. So there's summer tanagers, Benwick's wren, house wrens, swallows, all kinds of stuff. Here's the bluebirds. True or false book of horses. Okay, so if you have a horse lover, this is the book for you. Horses sense smell better than we do. True or false? And then a book about a bird species. This is called Flute's Journey, The Life of a Wood Thrush. So this is a beautifully illustrated book about the life cycle of the wood thrush. Really pretty. And then I have this set of Ranger Rick NatureScope magazines that were published in the late 80s, and I'm selling them as a set. They're really fun. So this is Discovering Deserts. So all of them are just packed full of like puzzles and games and stories and brief little snippets of information about the subject matter. Okay, so this one is Discovering Deserts. Then we have Astronomy Adventures, Amazing Mammals, Trees Are Terrific, and this one has a pull-out guide to it, a little like poster-sized thing. And there's the inside. And the last one is Amazing Mammals Part 2. So we have Amazing Mammals Part 1 and Part 2. 2 more children's books and then 1 more book for adults. So this is a giant little golden book. It is Birds. It is one of the most precious books. I love finding this book, and I don't find it very often. And this one is in wonderful condition. So it is illustrated by Eloise Wilkin, who is very beloved and still sought out today for her illustration style. And I'll show you a picture that is a little bit reminiscent of the way that she drew children that you might recognize. There's that one. Listen, let's just be honest. It's a little creepy, but it's also cute. Okay. So throughout this book, it's just teaching your youngest little children all about birds, and the back page is just so cute because it has all the birds that are in the book. Okay, so this also, in case you didn't know, golden books, often you have to look on this last page to find what edition it is. So this book has an A on it. It's very hard to see, but that means it was a first edition. Okay, then we have this Butterflies and Moths. This is a deluxe edition Golden Library of Knowledge book. So all the Golden Library of Knowledge books look like this. And then inside, as all these golden books have, you are just going to find the most beautiful nature illustrations. So this is a true treasure. And both of these books, again, are just in really good condition. All right, the last book I have for you is actually a set of 2. So I'm just going to lift it up and show it to you really quick. Okay, there's the set. This is Wildflowers of New York. It was part of a series of books that were made for the New York State Museum in the early 1900s, the 1910s, I believe. So these have all kinds of beautiful photography, full of all the wildflowers of New York. And here's another one. Okay, so those photographs are all through the book. Also, you can see that this book was compliments of Charles L. Meade, member of Assembly, and the previous owner was Captain A.G. Hall, who I looked up, and I can't really remember right now who he was, but I wrote it in the product description. But I wrote that product description like 3 weeks ago, so I can't remember. So sorry about that. Anyway, this took forever. Okay, I apologize. If you stuck with me for the whole 20 minutes, you are amazing and I love you. So these again are all getting listed in the shop this week, and the link to that will be in the description. I hope you enjoyed looking through these beautiful books with me. And I will see you again very soon for another shop update video. See you then. Bye.